Because in that sermon, what did he say? He said, look at the situation of these Yemeni Houthis, these followers of Ahlul Bayt. He said, look at them. Instead of using Saudi Arabia as a mediator, and instead of using Egypt as a mediator, and the scholars of Saudi Arabia and the scholars of Egypt, they went and used Sistani, the Fajr, the Zindiq. Fajr, Zindiq is translated in the English language as Sistani, the atheist sinner. But don't abuse him. Bring out your points against him, because that's the way the school of Ahlul Bayt cultures its followers.
من تعرض لهم فلا شك أنه زنديق ولا شك أنه ناصبي ولا شك بالتبع حسب النصوص الدينية الشريفة أنه ابن القحبة.
That tongue which Allah gave them, instead of them using it properly, they use it to actually create chaos in a community. And the most beautiful thing about those people who use their tongues to gossip or to backbite or to cause chaos is that all the rewards go to the person who they're backbiting.
لعنة الله عليك يا عائشة لعنة الله عليك يا عائشة لعنة الله عليك يا عائشة لعنة الله عليك بعدد أنفاس الخلائق.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not like it that his Muslims were amongst those who find it normal to abuse others because they disagree with them.
وأي إشكال لهم علينا في أن الشيعة يكرهون عمر ويبغضونه ويلعنونه في الصلوات. عمر لعون تجب البراءة منه.
That's the difference between the ulama of Ahlul Bayt and other ulama. When Urayfi comes and uses the Friday sermon as a point to abuse Sayyid al-Sistani, he's going against the whole teachings of the religion of Islam. Because the religion of Islam was a religion which said that abuse has no role in this religion. And who are you abusing? You are abusing a man who, were it not for his wisdom, then there would be civil war until today in the land of Iraq.
Every day in Iraq, up to 100 mutilated bodies are found. They're not killed by Sunni insurgents. They're mostly killed by Shia death squads who are ethnically cleansing Baghdad in a systematic campaign.
When you come and attack Sayyid al-Sistani, you are attacking a man in which way? By being abusive and calling him an atheist sinner? This is a man who's under the banner of La ilaha illallah, under the banner of Muhammad and Rasulullah. Which sin can you show me against Sayyid al-Sistani? But the third point in Urayfi's sermon, which is arguably the most dangerous point, and I need you to understand this issue. And that was the point where he said, O Sunnis of Iraq, listen to his line. Listen to, this is the cause of civil war in Islam. O Sunnis of Iraq, do not forget when our Sunnis were killed by Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi, the Shia alim, and Ibn al-Alqami, when they helped the Mongols invade Baghdad and they destroyed our government. Who made the Abbasids fall? Genghis Khan. With his family member by the name of Holako. Now, I need you to understand this delicate issue. Why? Because Urayfi is trying to cause more killings in Baghdad by his sermon. And he's taken a historical incident out of context. Which books say it was Nasruddin al-Tusi? If you study the first books 100 years after the Mongols invaded Baghdad, none of them mention Nasruddin al-Tusi in this incident. None of them. Look in the books of Ibn al-Wardi, look in the books of al-Dhahabi, look in the books of, for example, there was a scholar by the name of Naqshawani. Look in the books, for example, of Abu al-Fida. You will find all of these scholars, if you study their works, there is no mention of Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi at all in the incident. Therefore, somebody asked the question, if these first books didn't mention, then who mentions this? Two scholars, Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim. The irony that Urayfi's master's and PhD was on who? Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim, the two strangleholds of Wahhabi thought. Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim, present around the time of Genghis Khan and around the time of people like Holako, these people are the main writers in Wahhabi thought. Therefore the question arises, then how did Holako meet Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi? Because there must have been a meeting. Yes, there was. What happened? When Holako entered Iraq, he said, get me 2 scholars. So they bought him Husam ad-Din and they bought him Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi. He looked at both of them. Husam ad-Din was an astrologer. When he looked at Husam ad-Din, he said to him, let me ask you one question. He said, what is it? He said, is it a good thing that I enter Iraq and I capture Baghdad? Husam ad-Din says, according to my astrology, it's not good. He said to him, why? He said, because any person who's attacked an Abbasid Khalifa never gained authority afterwards. And according to my magic ball, you know they have those magic balls in Australia, according to my magic ball it says that 6 evils will befall you if you capture Baghdad. He said, what are they? He said that there'll be no more scholars in Baghdad, there'll be no more horses, no more livestock, no vegetation, no rain. He looked at him and he said, very well. He asked Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi. He said, let me ask you, is what he says true? He says, no. Now at that moment, they tried to accuse that, look, Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi is trying to be good to Holako. It's not that he's being good. It's that he's saying, don't listen to this astrologer. He's lying to you. He said to him, if he's saying to you that if you attack an Abbasid Khalifa, you'll never gain authority, this is a lie. He said to him, why? He said, Al-Ma'mun, how did he come to power? He killed his brother Al-Amin. So he said in history it is clear that if you kill an Abbasid Khalifa you can still get authority. So at that moment Holako looked at Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi and he said, this man is a man of respect. That I'm in front of him, yet he still answered with truth. Holako was going to establish his government whatever happened. Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi thought to himself, there's no point fighting Holako. Why? Because Holako had just destroyed the Ismailis completely. The Ismailis had been annihilated by Holako and by the Mongols. Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi thought, my best option isn't to fight this man, because the Shia, Ithna Ashariya will be killed. My option is to try and work with this man. And that's why after a while, Holako trusted Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi. Holako, do you think it was easy for Khawaja Nasruddin al-Tusi to work with him? But he thought to himself, if I fight the man, I'm going to lose lives. Let me try and work with the man, see what I can do. He remained patient. Holako respected his bravery, respected his patience. Holako made him in charge of the endowments of all the mosques of Ahl al-Bayt in Iraq. Then he put him in charge of the endowments of Mashhad, Imam Ali ibn Musa. He put him in charge of that.
Yeah, Naqshawani, do you really think your audience is that stupid to actually believe that what Nasruddin al-Tusi did in siding with the Mongols against the Abbasid Khalifa and taking a position in their government was actually a good thing and permissible in Islam? See, what Naqshawani is really saying is that if the Zionists were to take over Lebanon, it would be perfectly normal for the Shia scholars to work with the Zionists and for them to take positions in the government. Because this is exactly what Nasruddin al-Tusi did. And Sheikh al-Urayfi, Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim, what they said about Nasruddin al-Tusi was 100% true. How can you say that if a Muslim sides with the kuffar against the Muslims and works with them is perfectly normal in the Sharia of Allah? This might be permissible in Shi'ism, but definitely not Islam. In fact, the Shia have sided with the kuffar in every campaign against the Islamic leadership throughout history. And even in modern times, which leads me to answer Naqshawani's question about what sin has the As-Sistani committed. Well, I'll tell you what sin he has committed. Like Nasruddin al-Tusi, your great scholar, has sided with the Americans in the war in Iraq, against the Iraqis. A war that claimed over 1 million lives. No sane Muslim will actually say this was in the benefit of the Muslims, or that was actually permissible in Islam. But this is the reality of the history of the Shia, and even in modern times, that they would side with the kuffar against the Muslims no matter what. They would betray Islam and Muslims if they saw that there was some worldly benefit in it for them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite our hearts upon the truth and never allow us to compromise our beliefs. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا بطانة من دونكم لا يألونكم خبالا ودوا ما عنتم قد بدت البغضاء من أفواههم وما تخفي صدورهم أكبر قد بينا لكم الآيات إن كنتم تعقلون